was that the first thing they did as organizers is they figured out how do we control the budget. So even though it was a small population of black students there, they got control of the Associated Student budget. First thing we did in the spring is invite, 67 was invited Mary Baraka out. Mary Baraka formed what he called a community communication project. It involved dance, so it almost like was a draw. It just drew all the kind of theater, black theater, black arts black arts
community,
black arts community. All that came together at a particular point in time, and we used to do that. So that was the first, in that sense, we saw the kind of impact that he had. It's just because the leaders of the Black Student Union were now building a platform. Like I said, a lot of them had come out of SNCC and other so they knew how to organize. The next thing we did, aside from that, is to take another step and open up a community center, a place in the community. And we did a place in the community right in the what's called of the black community in the Fillmore, which is the Harlem of the West Coast, Harlem West Coast. All those things were happening at that particular point in time, 1967, 68. We brought Nathan Hare out there as to work. Nathan Hare, the leading person around Black Studies. We brought him out there, as we call it that. He was there for a year. The strike really came out a kind of ongoing struggle that we had with the student, with the administration around the issue of Black Studies. We brought Nathan Hare out there, no resources for that, limited resources. And Summerskill was supposed to be a progressive, the president of San Francisco State. He had spent time in Africa and everything else. So out of that emerged, in that time when they procrastinated on the rehiring of Nathan Hare, we called for a student strike, 1968. We called for a student strike, and that strike, now the strike became to mobilize the discontent and aspirations of Hispanic students, Asian American students, Native American students, teachers, and progressive whites. And that happened in September. That strike happened for 5 months. We basically shut the campus down from that point in September all the way through to the end of the year, the spring of 1969, fall of 1969.
Thank you.
And then that came out. That's the kind of history, and all the relationships that came out. I mean, some of the relationships that I found that came out of there were relationships with Willie Brown. There's a huge picture with members of the Black Student Union, and Willie Brown, Cecil Williams, the minister at Clyde. Cecil, big picture. I showed a picture of what's called a friend of mine who works. Clarence Thomas, Buzz, not Buzz Thomas. Buzz makes a difference. Buzz Thomas and I had known each other since we were 19 years old. And Buzz had come out to San Francisco State with me, and I got suspended for a semester, and he got kicked out behind the Gator incident in the fall of 1967. We were in the Gator office, and we got in a fight in the Gator office. The school newspaper office, over some stuff about the way in which the Gator demonized or villainized the Black Student Union, and it was over something over the school, who's gonna be the school queen or something like that, some kind of stuff like that. I mean, when you think about that, you laugh at all this stuff now. You're like 21 years old, and you laugh at all this stuff. And so that happened, and Buzz gave me one of our Black Fire newspapers, because we put up our own newspaper, Black Fire newspaper that he gave me, with me, Rip Ridley, who worked for HUD or something like that, Willie Brown, Cecil Taylor, and a whole bunch of groups of us all was together, and this had to be in the fall of 1967. Or spring of 1968 or something like that. So